I used to believe playlists were harmless, just songs, background noise to memories that mattered more. I was wrong. Portland in the summer smells like rain-soaked pavement and blooming jasmine. The city hums differently in July, lighter, softer, like it's holding its breath for weddings. Mine included. I'm Elowen Hart, 28 years old, and 2 hours before my wedding ceremony, I was barefoot on the hardwood floor of our rented craftsman house, watching sunlight crawl up the walls while my bridesmaids laughed in the kitchen. Everything felt suspended in that moment, like the calm before a song drops. DJ confirmed load-in. My maid of honor, Clara, called out, "Sound check starts in 30. I smiled, because that DJ wasn't just a vendor. It was Rowan. Rowan Bell, my best friend since college. The person who sat cross-legged on my dorm bed at 2 a.m. while I cried over my first heartbreak. The person who knew my taste in music better than anyone. Every sad indie track, every guilty pleasure pop anthem, every song tied to a memory. When Rowan started DJing weddings, it felt inevitable that she'd do mine. She insisted on it, actually. "I don't want your money," she'd said, waving me off. "This one's on me. I want it to be perfect." I should have noticed the way she emphasized perfect. The venue was an old renovated warehouse by the Willamette River. Exposed brick, string lights, wide windows thrown open to let summer air drift through. The kind of place where sound echoes just enough to feel alive. As guests arrived, I stayed tucked away, smoothing my dress, grounding myself with deep breaths. Then the pre-ceremony music started. At first, I thought there was a mistake. The song didn't belong. It was loud, aggressive, bass-heavy in a way that rattled the glass. "That's odd," Clara murmured, peeking through the door. My chest tightened. Rowan knew better. She knew I'd curated the playlist for weeks. Soft acoustic, indie folk, gentle builds that felt like slow heartbeats. The music shifted again. A club remix, then another. Laughter drifted in from the venue. Not warm laughter. Confused laughter. The kind people make when they don't know whether something is intentional. My stomach dropped. "Go ask her," I said, my voice sharper than I meant. Clara nodded and disappeared. I stood there, hands clenched at my sides, listening as the soundtrack of my wedding turned into something unrecognizable. When Clara came back, her face was pale. She says, "It's a creative pivot," she whispered. "That guests need energy." Creative pivot. My mouth went dry. That was when the ceremony ended and the reception began. I walked into the room on my husband's arm, applause washing over us. And for a brief second, I let myself believe it would be okay. Then Rowan dropped the song. It was that song, the one from sophomore year, the one tied to the worst night of my life, the one I had told her, explicitly, painfully, I never wanted to hear again. People froze. A few gasped. Someone snorted. Someone else whispered my name. I felt it like a physical blow. My vision narrowed, the room tilted. Rowan stood behind her booth, eyes locked on me, smiling. Not apologetic, not confused. Satisfied. Heat rushed to my face. Every memory attached to that song surged forward. Humiliation, betrayal, the sense of being laughed at when I was already broken. I wanted to disappear, or scream, or tear the speakers out of the walls. Instead, I smiled. Because everyone was watching. I danced. I posed for photos. I laughed when people made awkward jokes. And inside, something went quiet. Not numb. Focused. Later that night, when I cornered Rowan near the bar, she leaned in like we were sharing a secret. "Relax," she said lightly. "People are talking. That's good." "You embarrassed me," I said, my voice shaking despite my effort. She shrugged. "You take things too personally, LON. It's just music. Just music." I stared at her then, really stared, and realized I didn't recognize the person in front of me. That was the moment something shifted. Because if she thought this was just music, then she had no idea what I was capable of doing with the truth. I didn't cry that night. I didn't confront her again. I went home, took off my dress, and opened my laptop. And the first thing I searched for wasn't revenge. It was proof. The morning after my wedding, Portland woke up soft and gray. Rain tapped lightly against the windows, the kind of drizzle that feels apologetic. I sat at the kitchen table in an oversized sweater that still smelled faintly like flowers and spilled champagne. My phone buzzed non-stop on the counter. I didn't touch it, because I already knew what was on the screen. Videos, clips, stories tagged with my name. The internet had opinions. Someone had uploaded footage of the reception, my face frozen mid-smile as that song blasted through the speakers. Another clip zoomed in on Rowan behind the DJ booth, nodding along, fully in control. The comments were worse. Is this some kind of joke? Why would a bride allow this? That DJ is savage. Awkward doesn't even cover it. I felt my chest tighten, but I didn't cry. Not yet. Instead, I opened my laptop. I replayed the night in my head, frame by frame. The moment Rowan locked eyes with me, the timing of the song, the way she leaned into the attention. This wasn't a mistake. It was a performance. I started small. I searched our messages. Years of texts, voice notes, contracts she'd asked me to just glance over. And then I found it. A thread from 6 months earlier. Rowan, I'm running your payment through my business account, just easier for taxes. Me. That's fine. Whatever you need. At the time, it felt normal. Rowan handled dozens of gigs. She knew what she was doing. But now, something itched at the back of my mind. I pulled up my bank statements. Then my stomach dropped. I saw it immediately. Multiple transfers labeled as event services, amounts rounded strangely, dates that didn't align with our agreement. I cross-referenced them with the contract she'd sent me. They didn't match. Not even close. I kept digging. The more I looked, the more the story changed. Payments rerouted, duplicate invoices, fees for equipment that had never shown up at my wedding. This wasn't just about embarrassing me. This was fraud. By noon, my hands were shaking, not from fear, but from adrenaline. I called Clara. She did this on purpose, I said the moment she answered. There was a pause. I know, Clara said quietly. I didn't want to say it, but people noticed. That word again, people. Rowan loved an audience. That's when the pieces clicked together. Rowan wasn't just a DJ anymore. She was a brand. Her social media had exploded over the past year. Live-streamed sets, sponsorships, thousands of followers watching her every move. And in 2 weeks, she had her biggest gig yet. A headline slot at a live-streamed music festival. Sponsors, press, tens of thousands of viewers. I stared at the event announcement on her page. Then I smiled for the first time since my wedding. I wasn't going to confront her. I wasn't going to warn her. I was going to let her take the stage. But first I needed help. I reached out to a forensic accountant recommended by a friend. Then a lawyer. Quiet. Sharp. The kind who listens more than she talks. They confirmed what I already knew. This is clear misrepresentation, the lawyer said. And the paper trail is sloppy. Rowan had underestimated me. Or maybe she'd never believed I'd look. That night, Rowan texted me. Rowan. Hey, been seeing some weird energy online. You good? I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back. Me. Yeah, just processing everything. She sent a heart emoji. I closed my laptop. Because the truth was, I wasn't processing. I was preparing. And Rowan had no idea that the playlist she sabotaged was only the opening track. In the days that followed, I learned something unsettling. People don't become cruel overnight. They just stop pretending. Rowan didn't avoid me after the wedding. She didn't apologize. She didn't even act awkward. She acted victorious. Her Instagram stories kept popping up on my feed. Sunlit studio shots, soundboards glowing, captions about creative freedom, and owning your narrative. One story stopped me cold. A screenshot of a DM from a follower. That wedding set was iconic. Rowan had replied with a laughing emoji. That was when I knew. She wanted me to see it. I muted her after that. But I didn't disconnect. I watched quietly from the sidelines, like a shadow. The forensic accountant sent her preliminary findings 3 days later. It was worse than I expected. Rowan hadn't just rerouted my payment. She'd been using the same tactic on other private clients, charging one rate on paper, then inflating invoices once the money cleared. But she was careful. She targeted people who wouldn't question her. Friends, acquaintances, people who trusted her, people like me. The accountant highlighted one line in red. "She's using her business account as a pass-through," he said. "That's risky and illegal." I felt something twist in my chest. Not guilt, not regret. Recognition. I wasn't special. I was convenient. The lawyer advised patience. "Don't tip her off," she said. "Let her continue behaving exactly how she is." That part was easy. Rowan loved attention too much to stop. A week later, she invited me for coffee. I almost didn't go. But then I realized this was a gift. We met at a cafe on Hawthorne Boulevard, the kind with reclaimed wood tables and plants hanging from the ceiling. Rowan hugged me like nothing had happened. "I hate weird energy," she said, pulling back. "I miss you." I studied her face. The familiarity was there. So was something colder underneath. "I've been laying low," I said carefully, trying to get my head straight. She nodded, sympathetic. "Weddings mess people up," she said lightly. "Too many emotions. Too many emotions." I smiled into my cup. She talked about the festival nonstop. Lighting rigs, sponsors, how nervous she was about the live stream numbers. "Once this hits," she said, eyes shining, "everything changes." I nodded, because she was right. Everything was about to change. Before we left, she handed me a USB drive. "My wedding set," she said. "Edited version. Thought you might want it." I almost laughed. Instead, I took it. That night, I plugged the drive into my laptop. What I found wasn't just a playlist. It was metadata. Timestamps, edits, manual overrides showing when Rowan deliberately swapped songs. The exact second that song was cued, I stared at the screen, pulse steady. This wasn't emotional anymore. This was evidence. The next piece came from someone unexpected. A woman named Jules messaged me privately. "I don't know you," she wrote, "but I was at your wedding. And I think what she did was wrong." We met the following afternoon. Jules had hired Rowan for a birthday party months earlier. "Same thing happened," she said quietly. "Different scale. Same behavior." She slid her phone across the table. Screenshots, invoices, messages eerily similar to mine. I felt a strange calm settle over me. Rowan hadn't just crossed me. She'd left a trail. By the time I got home, my phone buzzed again. "Rowan, this time. Rowan. Festival rehearsal went insane today. Wish you could have seen it." I typed back slowly. "Me. I'm proud of you. Big moment." She replied almost instantly. "Rowan. It really is. This one's going to be unforgettable." I stared at the word. Unforgettable. She had no idea how right she was. Because the stage was set. And soon, the music would stop. There's a strange peace that comes when you stop reacting. Once the decision is made, fear loses its grip. What replaces it is precision. I created a folder on my laptop and named it something boring. Wedding expenses. Inside, I placed everything. Bank transfers, contracts, metadata files, screenshots from Jules, and 2 other women who'd reached out after she shared her story quietly with friends. Yes, 2 more. Rowan's pattern was spreading faster than she realized. One woman had paid extra for exclusive sound equipment that never existed. Another had been charged a cancellation fee for a gig Rowan herself backed out of. Each story echoed mine. Same language, same timing, same casual dismissal when questioned. "It's industry standard," Rowan had told all of us. It wasn't. The lawyer helped me organize everything into a timeline, clean, undeniable. "This isn't revenge," she said one afternoon as we reviewed the documents. "This is accountability." I liked that word. Accountability felt colder than revenge, sharper, more permanent. Meanwhile, Rowan was everywhere. Posters for the festival appeared around Portland. Her name in bold, her face angled just right, headphones slung low like a crown. She posted countdowns, behind-the-scenes clips, "Biggest moment of my career," captions. She tagged sponsors relentlessly. One of them replied publicly, "So excited to work with you." I forwarded that comment to my lawyer. She didn't smile. She nodded. We drafted a plan that didn't involve yelling, confronting, or emotional speeches. Facts only, timing everything. The festival livestream was scheduled for a Saturday night. Peak audience, peak attention. Rowan would be live for 90 minutes. At minute 45, she'd transition into her signature set, the part she always hyped. That's when we'd move. I wouldn't go live myself. I wouldn't need to. Instead, the lawyer would submit formal complaints to sponsors, the platform hosting the livestream, and the state licensing board, simultaneously. Each submission would include evidence, receipts, contracts, metadata, all time-stamped, all verifiable. But there was one more piece. Rowan trusted me. She still texted me. 2 nights before the festival, she sent a voice memo. "I'm nervous," she admitted. "I know I act confident, but this feels big." I listened twice. There was sincerity there. Or maybe just habit. "You're going to kill it," I replied calmly. "You always do." She sent back a heart. I stared at the screen longer than I should have. This wasn't easy. But then I remembered standing in my wedding dress while strangers laughed. I remembered the smile she wore while I swallowed humiliation. And the hesitation evaporated. The night before the festival, my lawyer called. "Everything's ready," she said. "Once it starts, there's no stopping it." I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, listening to the city breathe through an open window. For the first time since the wedding, I slept. The next evening, I didn't watch the live stream. I muted my phone and poured a glass of wine. At exactly 8:45 p.m., my phone buzzed. A single message from my lawyer. "Now." I opened my laptop. Notifications were already piling up. Sponsors pulling posts, comments flooding the livestream chat. Someone clipped Rowan mid-set, her face flickering as something went wrong. I refreshed the page. The stream froze, then went dark. My phone rang. Rowan's name lit up the screen. I let it ring, because the music had finally stopped. Rowan didn't stop calling. Once, twice, then over and over until my phone buzzed across the table like it was alive. I didn't answer, not because I was afraid of what she'd say, but because I already knew. I refreshed social media instead. The festival hashtag was trending, not for the music, for the collapse. Clips were everywhere. Rowan mid-transition, hands frozen above the mixer, the audio cutting in and out, then the abrupt end of the stream. A black screen where applause was supposed to be. Comments poured in faster than I could read. Why did the stream stop? Did the sponsor pull out? Anyone else seeing fraud allegations? Fraud. There it was. Rowan's name was suddenly attached to words she'd never imagined wearing publicly. Finality. My phone rang again. This time, a text. "Rowan. Elowen, please, call me." I stared at it. A week ago, that message would have shattered me. I would have rushed to reassure her, taken responsibility for smoothing things over. But that version of me was gone. Instead, I waited. The lawyer called 20 minutes later. "The platform paused her account," she said. "Sponsors are requesting internal reviews. The licensing board acknowledged receipt." Paused. Acknowledged. Formal words for irreversible damage. "Did you hear from her?" the lawyer asked. "Yes," I said quietly. "She's calling." "Good," she replied. "Don't respond yet." So I didn't. By morning, the narrative had shifted again. Articles popped up on local blogs, then larger outlets. Festival headliner under investigation. DJ accused of financial misrepresentation. Rowan's Instagram went private. Her website went offline. People I didn't recognize started messaging me. Some supportive, some invasive, some just hungry for drama. One message stopped me. It was from Rowan's mother. "I don't know what's happening, but Rowan is not okay. Please talk to her." My chest tightened. This wasn't just a brand anymore, it was a person unraveling. I sat on my couch for a long time, phone in my hand, weighing silence against compassion. Then I remembered something my therapist once told me. You can be kind without being complicit. So I texted Rowan back. Me. I know this is overwhelming. I won't discuss details, but I hope you're safe. She replied instantly. Rowan, you did this, didn't you? I closed my eyes. There it was. The truth, finally acknowledged. Me. You did it first. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then nothing. Hours passed. That night, Clara came over with takeout and wine. I'm proud of you, she said softly. You didn't explode. You didn't destroy yourself to protect her. I nodded, throat tight, because this wasn't victory. It was grief with boundaries. Before bed, I checked my email one last time. A new message waited. Subject line, request for formal statement. The next phase had begun. And this time, I would have to speak.